everybody. It is Craig, Whispering Storyteller here. I hope you are well. And here we are again. It is that time of month where it is end of month. And we just catch up with one another and talk about all of the day-to-day things that's been going on. Sometimes those details are very mundane and sometimes they're slightly bigger things. But how are you? Well, I hope. Well, what a month September has been. Nothing massive happened for me, just little things, you know. So, my new job, well, not so new job. It's now, 6 months since I started this job, and I'm really still enjoying it. It is very busy, but I like that kind of busy where you are in the zone and totally absorbed in what it is that you have to do. I like that kind of thing. But the month of September for me has been busy, but not a massive sort of grand scale busy, if that makes sense. So let's talk about some of the things that I've been up to, and of course you can tell me what you've been up to in the comments. Okay, so probably the thing I'd mention first is that I kind of finished my song. So I mentioned that I've been recording a Christmas track for the last few months. Well, I've only had 2 sessions actually, so I started doing it on the 3rd of July. And I was there for a full day at this beautiful home studio of this local guy, a sound engineer, musician extraordinaire. And we spent a full day on the 3rd of July recording the song and putting down all the instrumental tracks and the vocals. And I mean, this guy's room is like a treasure trove of just every instrument you can think of. Mandolins, guitars, keyboards, you name it, he's got everything. And the company is Red Tape Music. Red Tape Music. And I'm just in awe of his talent. Tremendous guy. So we spent that full day on the 3rd of July, but I've only just recently kind of returned to it. And that was last week, last Wednesday. I went for a second day doing the recording, but this time it was more focused on the mix and maybe adding layers in and how loud instruments were, that kind of thing. And it's incredibly creative how different a song sounds with an instrument kind of muted a little bit more in the mix. So the song that I've created is quite a busy song. It wasn't on the demo that I created myself with my acoustic guitar here. It was very simplistic, but we've now got a lot of vocals going on, a lot of harmonies, and we've got piano, we've got guitar, and I even played the sleigh bells with it being a Christmas song, because you can sequence in such percussion instruments, but they never sound the same as played live. So I did do a track with me with the sleigh bells, just to give it that festive feel. But the song itself is very near completion, and the only thing that's holding us back at the moment is that he's got a head cold at the moment, and he was struggling to hear some of the top end So we're just going to wait for his call to clear up and then get his expertise to make it sound amazing. But the song itself is really nice. It's a very gentle, easy listening song. And it's all about remembering loved ones at Christmas. I know I've mentioned it on the channel numerous occasions in the last few months, but we are nearing the end now. And we're going to get a mix for vinyl and a mix for streaming too. And I'm going to put it on Spotify and do a few vinyl presents for a gift for my friends and family. Would you like to have a copy of the song? Just remember, it is easy listening. It's not exactly heavy rock or R&B. It's a very gentle song, but a very heartfelt song. And I'm really happy with it, genuinely happy with it, and we've done a fantastic 2 solid days on creating it from scratch, from just a little demo recording that I'd done. And I always find that just amazing how something is born from just an acorn of an idea. It's a tremendous, and I'm so pleased with the final result. I think it sounds really, really nice. So Red Tape Music, I'm going to put the link down below, and please do check him out. He's got clients around the world, in the States, even as far flung as South America, I believe. But do check him out, a super, super, super talented guy. So I took a week off, so there's nothing really major happened over the last few weeks. But last week, which was the last full week of September, I decided to take annual leave, because we do get up to 4 or 5 weeks annual leave here in the UK, so we're really lucky that way. So I decided I wasn't going anywhere really. I just had a few chores that I needed to do, as you do, you know. One of them was painting and decorating, and this meant we got a renovation done in 2001. Sorry, not 2001, 2021. But we still hadn't got a lot of things put right since the renovation, just because of COVID restrictions, and I've gone from different jobs to different jobs. Haven't been settled on the job front since I was made redundant in 2019. But I've reached an area now where I'm kind of relatively settled, if that makes sense. And I thought to myself, let's actually get some tidying up done in the house of some of the work that was incomplete. So we had a hallway where we've had a door frame put in, and there was lots of plaster still on the walls where it had been skimmed and filled in. So I've now painted that. The kitchen still hasn't got pictures on the wall, but I've got grand plans now for this lovely feature wall in the kitchen, and I've ordered a nice high-backed 2-seater chair to go against the wall, so you'll get that kind of diner look about it, I think, you know, with the seating. I'm going to be upcycling, is that the word for it? A kitchen table that I got from one of my family members, and I'm going to, you know, give it a bit of a makeover. It's a solid pine table, but it really is nice, and I'm going to just give it a bit of TLC. So all these little jobs that just need doing, but we never find the time to do them, do we? So I decided to try to put some time aside to get some of these little things done. And the other thing, which this is going to lead into, is that my second YouTube channel that I talk often about, Wookiee Video Presents, sense. I've gone live again, not streaming live, but I'm actually active uploading again. I've took the longest time out because I wasn't getting the views or the figures, and it was just so long to make the videos, and I just thought, take a step back and get a game plan. But I've decided to step back into it and focus on scary movies and science fiction and fantasy movies. So things I always liked as a kid. And I've started uploading on there again, and as I've mentioned before, you get to see a different side of my personality. Something a little bit more kind of louder and upbeat. Do check it out. If you like it, subscribe to it, and I'm hoping to start posting every week just like I do here. But I've done a complete planner for the next year to look at what content I'm going to create week after week after week, keeping an eye on kind of what has been released on cinemas and what's streaming. So the idea is to keep ahead of what's happening in the science fiction, horror and fantasy world. Things like Stranger Things is coming out next year, the last season, but also having a bit of a retrospective look on the classics from the 30s, the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. You get the gist. Because cinema is one of my big passions, and movies is one of my big passions, as you know. So I'm a writer, I write screenplays, I've made films. I kind of get involved with a lot of things, so it's a good way for me just to be creative around my passion. Of course, one of the things I've had to factor in is time. So I work 5 days a week, probably around, say, 9 to 5. How do I create content for 2 channels? Well, Sundays is dedicated to Whispering Storyteller. This is where I do all of my rambles, my lo-fi stuff, looking through cupboards, etc. And it's really effortless, it's very easy to make and edit. But Wookie, on the other hand, is very, very concentrated, fast editing, and being very creative with the visuals that I'm presenting. So I've now got a Wookie Wednesday booked out on my calendar, which means that every Wednesday evening when I finish work, I have what we call just a really fast dinner, something really, really cheap and cheerful, whether it's fries and, I don't know, burgers or whatever. It just means that I can get straight into my room and planning, recording, writing, editing, whatever. And the aim is that I have 2 weeks worth of material down the track. So I'm 2 weeks ahead of myself continuously. I just hope I can keep it up. I've got all of the intentions of doing it. But one thing I won't do is make myself get stressed over it. That is super important that I don't, because then I think you can start to disconnect a little bit from it and get that anxiety feeling. I don't want that. I want this to be a passion project, just like Whispering Storyteller is, and I'm super excited for some of the content that I have. So yeah, things are good, and Wookie is back on the burner. What else has been happening? So last week, the weather wasn't so great here. We had a lot of storms, and I'm doing really boring things, like homeowner things, like clearing leaves from the guttering so they don't block up the pipes, the plumbing outside. Because I live on a tree-lined street, and autumn is a very tricky month, especially with all of the leaves that get clogged in the guttering of the house. So we've had quite a lot of rain, quite a lot of wind, and it's just kind of keeping on top of those things, boring things, but things you absolutely have to do. Yeah, another thing that happened to me was a couple of weeks ago. I decided to sell some furniture, and I put on a TV unit on Facebook Market, which I've never used, but a friend of mine uses it and has had a great experience every time. Now, I was a little bit kind of wet behind the ears, and I posted this TV unit that I was selling. It was solid oak, real kind of rusticy farmhouse, really solid. I paid like £300 for it. It's perfect condition. And I listed it on Facebook Marketplace, and within 30 minutes somebody responded to me saying they were interested to buy it. I was like, oh, fantastic, brilliant. And this person asked me to mark it as sold, which I did, but then started to tell me a bit of a story, a backstory about how she was buying it for her son, and she was having to front the money because he was moving house. And I did think, well, why are you telling me all this? You're just buying something I'm selling. But it came, if I fast forward a few messages that we were doing back and forth, she transferred some money to me and asked me to check my inbox for confirmation. And when I checked the inbox, there was a screen grab, if you like, of a transfer that had supposedly had taken place, and the money was being held in a holding account because she was transferring from a business account to my personal account. And she asked me, she said I've made a mistake and I can't release those funds. I need to increase the funds beyond this threshold of £150. And I was like, well, fine. You know, she says, if I send these excess funds over, will you send them back to me if I trust you? I should have had alarm bells ringing at that point, but I just went along with it, naive as I am. But I did say, yes, if you send me this £150, I will send you the difference over again. Whatever we had set up this bank account she has, it was a bank I'd never heard of. But then the funds didn't land, and they said that I had to transfer her the remaining funds to release the funds. Does this all make sense? It's very complex, but I started to get alarm bells around there. So this woman was asking me to transfer her money blindly on the proviso that this was then going to release these funds into my bank account. And that's when I said, absolutely not. I am not sending money anywhere. But she was going on about trust, how she trusted me. Now I needed to trust her. Absolutely not. And that's when the penny dropped and I thought, this is a scam. So I ended the conversation. I went to report it to Facebook, but they'd already kind of removed the attachment to it, so they couldn't be traced. Super naughty and super sly, really. And it's the first time I've ever had that kind of experience on Facebook Marketplace. In hindsight, my friend said that I should always sell things for cash on collection. So bypass all of this transferring money and sharing bank details, which does worry me a little bit. But I took it off Facebook Marketplace and I just haven't bothered again. I'd rather just give it to somebody, to be honest, if it was going to have this kind of anxiety attached to it. So there you go, that wasn't a great experience, but at least I've learned that you need to do cash on collection. That way you can vet your people face to face, even if it was a neutral place to meet up, whatever. Have you ever had any experiences with such things? I remember a few years ago, you might remember too, if you watch these rambles, where same as the watch. And eBay, they really stood by me and demanded that I got a refund. And the other person was adamant that they'd posted it and they hadn't. So I always think dishonesty always comes back. It's like a house of cards. Always comes back and bites you. And again, you know, it kind of sometimes puts you off buying using these methods of obtaining items, especially if they're second hand. And I mean, I've sold a PlayStation 4 on eBay and I had no problems whatsoever, so I have had some genuinely positive experiences. But there's a lot of scams out there at the moment, and we've got to be so vigilant about it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I think I will just go and do some relaxing, get this video edited and get it out for Monday evening. And yeah, hopefully October is going to be a great month for all of us. The month of Halloween and autumn nights and crisp evenings and frosty mornings, hopefully. Of course, I live in England and we never know what we are going to get, but I wish you, I hope you've had a happy September, and I wish you all the best for October. Do let me know how you all doing, give me thumbs up, tell me about what you've been up to. I love to hear from everybody. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye.